Spent the day just kind of wandering around, looking at some of the main sites. Took the subway, wandered down some alleys, just kind of exploring for a few hours. Probably walked about 10 miles. That's one of the things I like to do when I go places, especially big cities. I just like to wander, roam, and walk and see what I can get into, see what I can find. I just don't really have that vibe of excitement here. And this is a great place. I mean, it's great for foodies and the arts and in history, but it lacks that exotic culture that you find in some other places, especially a developing world, and just a sense of adventure. You compare this to a place like Rio de Janeiro, Mexico City, Hong Kong, Cambodia, Thailand, Colombia. When you go to those places, you get off the plane and man, sometimes it just like kicks you in the nuts and you feel it, and there's a vibe and there's adrenaline and action. I just haven't felt that here yet in Rome. So I packed my shit, headed down to the train station and flipped a coin to see if I was headed north or south. Tails called south, so I took a train to Naples, the third largest city in Italy. Rick Steves calls Naples Italy in your face, a city crammed with chaos, polluted, crime-ridden, densely populated, and both appalling and captivating at the same time. Now, Naples isn't as appealing for typical travelers seeking romance in Rome, but for adventure travelers like myself, it's right up my alley. I grabbed my camera and walked endless miles immersing myself in the street life. Mopeds zooming around at Mach 10, mob-type looking characters hanging on street corners, open markets, people yelling out of windows, and narrow alleyways chock full of life. Naples was the exact opposite of Rome. Raw, gritty, and unapologetically authentic. Just the kind of place I love to wander, have a few beers, and watch it all unfold. Next morning, I headed to the train station and went south to Mount Vesuvius. From the Pompeii stop, it's about a half-hour bus ride to the top. The peak of Mount Vesuvius stands at about 4,200 feet. Now, it's not the tallest mountain or volcano on the map, but it's pretty high in the area and can be seen from miles away. Minus all the damn bugs, this was probably one of the easiest volcanoes I've ever hiked. You pretty much drive to the crater and have a 30-minute walk to the top. Now, I've hiked volcanoes in Central America, and this is pale in comparison. Vesuvius has actually erupted several times since its most famous eruption in AD 79. It's the only volcano in Europe to have erupted in the past 100 years, most recently in 1944. It is now considered one of the most dangerous volcanoes in the world. With more than 3 million people living in the vicinity of it, scientists say the next eruption could be quite catastrophic. In a worst-case scenario, the government predicts the pyroclastic surges could reach up to 4 miles away and force the evacuation of 500,000 people. Now, until that day comes, Vesuvius is a great day trip from Naples and a perfect volcano for a first-timer. Pompeii sits at the base of Mount Vesuvius and is definitely one of the most famous archaeological sites in the world. It's kind of hard to come to Italy or Europe and not go there. While the true death toll remains unknown, archaeologists found remains of at least 1,500 people in the area. It was said the eruption lasted for 2 days. Now, there have actually been many volcanic eruptions that have been more catastrophic and fatal than Pompeii. There was Tambora in Indonesia, 92,000 deaths. Krakatau in Indonesia, 36,000 deaths. Even Ruiz in Colombia, an eruption in 1985 led to 25,000 deaths. So volcanoes have caused lots of destruction and taken out many towns around the world, but
Pompeii is quite interesting because the whole area was just so well preserved. It was all dug out of the ashes, and today it is a popular tourist attraction. And as many archaeological sites, especially some of the ones I've been to, unfortunately you get so many people, it kind of kills the experience of being there. You know, I think back when I went to Machu Picchu in the early 2000s, I got there and there were thousands of school kids. So all of these places are cool, but they can get quite crowded, but it's still a cool experience.